Imagine the following situation. You and your friends are strolling along the banks of a river on a summer morning, the sun's rays reflecting off the water's surface. But somewhere in the middle of the banks, you notice a glittering sparkle. Captivated by the light, you approach and pick up what appears to be a transparent crystal. Stunned by the beauty of the stone, you realize that you are holding a possible diamond. You show everyone your incredible find, but on your way home, you drop the stone on the ground and lose it forever. You even go back with your friends to look for it, but to no avail. Well, this story is true, and it happened to a subscriber of our channel during a summer trip. To this day, we're not sure if the stone in question was actually a diamond. But what if it was? It would probably be worth a lot of money. Now imagine if this happened to you. What would you do? Would you like to know how to find gems in the rivers in your area? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, so pay attention because from now on, every stream you come across is going to be an opportunity to find gems. Especially when you go on vacation, bathe in the river in the middle of nature and come across those thousands of colored, matte, and opaque stones that end up accumulating on the banks and riverbeds. But did you know that if you look closely, you can find precious stones mixed in with this gravel? That's right, if you've ever wondered. Can I find something of value here? The answer is yes. Of course, it depends on the region you're looking in, but in general, there is a chance of finding gems in rivers. From semi-precious stones, which you can polish for a few dollars, to precious stones, which can bring you good money in their raw state due to their rarity. The first of these stones is quartz, which, in case you didn't know, is the second most abundant rock on the planet, which means that if you go looking for quartz in rivers, you're sure to find it. However, you need to analyze the stones by color and quality, because each crystal in the quartz family has its own characteristics. For example, amethyst is a purple quartz, which, depending on the quality of the stone, can be worth much more than a transparent quartz full of cracks. You're bound to find quartz crystals that have been worn down by friction with other stones. This is why the stones have rounded edges, as they roll for miles down the river until they are worn down enough to have that rounded shape. And if you're lucky, you can find quality quartz with a good color to cut. You'll also find agates and topazes in this shape. Also, you have to be careful because usually in rivers and waterfalls, if there's industrial glass waste somewhere in the river, you should be wary of colored stones, especially if they're green or blue. A lot of lay people get confused because the same process that leaves quartz with rounded edges ends up leaving pieces of glass rounded as well. And with glass, this process happens much faster because while quartz has a hardness of 7 on the Mohs scale, glass has a hardness of 5 to 6 on the Mohs scale. For example, this piece that is now appearing on your screen is industrial glass. It's a man-made crystal. That's why you have to be careful, because even if civilization isn't many miles away from the region you're looking for, if this material has been dumped somewhere upriver, even torrential rains are strong enough to carry this material downriver. And from there, a piece of glass like this can travel for miles downriver until it's rounded like this, looking like it's been polished. Another stone you may end up finding in your area is Jasper, which is mainly red in color. You can even find these stones quite easily. They are opaque, have a very intense red color, and stand out among the sand and gravel. You can also find other colors such as yellow, brown, blue, and green, but red is certainly the one that will catch your eye the most. Finding a single jasper won't make you rich to the point of changing your financial life like finding a diamond would, but it's a little stone that has its value, even if it's small. And if you find a jasper on the banks of a river, you can be sure that there are more of them around. And even though these semi-precious stones are cheaper than, say, a ruby, you can make up for that difference in value by collecting several jaspers in large quantities. Another very special stone that can be worth several $1,000s, depending on the specimen you find, is agate. That's right. They are relatively abundant minerals in some regions and countries around the world, such as Brazil, China, Mexico, the United States, Australia, and Canada. Agate is a variety of quartz. It has been used in jewelry and interior decoration for over 3,000 years. Agate is characterized by its colors, which are distributed in parallel, straight, or curved bands. It forms in cavities in volcanic rocks, such as basalt, and usually contains crystals of other minerals in its central part. The external shape reflects the shape of the rock cavity in which the agate was formed. But don't be fooled, many agates are ugly little rocks on the outside. But if you cut them in half, you will see that there is a beauty hidden inside. And in the case of agates, the more beautiful it is on the inside, the more valuable it is. Some specimens have been traded for more than $50,000, which is a lot of money for a stone found in rivers. The most common colors are red, orange, brown, white, gray, and bluish gray. But agate can also be artificially dyed, a process that has been used since the 19th century. The process varies according to the desired color and is applied after the gem is cut. At least 90% of the agates sold in the world are colored. Blue, green, pink, or purple agates are the product of dyeing, but in Australia there are natural blue agates. Since agate is a type of chalcedony, it can even confuse people because of its similarity. But agate has its own peculiarities. You'll find that agate has several layers in the rock, whereas chalcedony does not. And you may end up finding other types of rarer minerals such as garnet. If you're not familiar with garnet, it's a very popular gemstone. The charm of garnet is due to the fact that people love to make pendants, necklaces, earrings, and rings with this gemstone, mainly because it has a color very similar to ruby, but on the other hand, it is cheaper. In some places, there are reports of opportunists trying to deceive tourists by selling garnets as if they were rubies. But fortunately, there is a test you can do with an ultraviolet light to identify rubies, which I've already shown in the previous video. But now comes the most awaited moment of the video, which is one of the biggest doubts of people: the diamond. Yes, diamonds can be found in many rivers and waterfalls here in the United States and in other countries around the world. Of course, it depends on where you're looking, because diamonds can also be found on the surface of the earth in three main deposits. The first is kimberlite, which is lava ejected from the Earth's surface during volcanic eruptions. This lava forms in the Earth's mantle and eventually brings the diamonds formed in that region to the surface. Often, these kimberlite rocks are exposed and end up releasing the diamonds they contain into the flow of rivers. This process takes a long time, but it happens. And because diamonds are heavy stones, they end up being deposited in alluvial deposits, the gravel that forms on the banks and beds of rivers. That's why you'll always see prospectors sifting through river gravel when they're looking for diamonds. Sometimes the river itself passes over a kimberlitic rock, and over the years this rock can wear away, causing the diamonds to come loose, carrying these gems for miles down the river. But how do you know when you found a real diamond? The shape of a diamond is very specific, and when you hold a diamond under a light, it shines with a metallic sheen. So if you have a very small stone, let's say, all hexagonal, it's more likely to be a quartz or a beryl than a diamond. But because it's a little bit more complex, there's a video on the channel about the shapes that a diamond can have. But it doesn't end there, because if you need help identifying the stones you have found in nature, but you don't have access to an experienced prospector or gemologist in your area, know that you can identify these stones yourself from the comfort of your own home. Just access our gemology ebook for beginners by clicking on the first link in the description. Because there you will have access to home methods that will help you identify these minerals, with home tests and complete tables with all the crystals already cataloged. However, before you start your search for gemstones, you should never start looking for them directly. First, you must identify the signs that indicate the presence of these gems in the region you are searching. Only after you have found these clues should you begin your search. This is especially true if you are looking for rarer crystals, such as rubies and diamonds. So if you're doing research to find out if a region is good for gemstones, all you need to do is identify these indicators and, if possible, access our ebook at the first link in the description to learn how to identify the stones you find. And to find out what these indicators are, just watch this video that's appearing on your screen. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Good luck, gem hunters!